We're going to be going over some Lions news here. We're going to be talking about Minicamp. We're going to be talking about C.J. Stroud commenting on Matthew Stafford and Aaron Rodgers. A player who is rising up from the Lions. 2 players. Really good to see. 4 things to watch according to the website. And the expectations of some of these rookies from our coaching staff. Let's go. If you're a big fan of the Detroit Lions, you're going to want to subscribe to the channel. Why? That's all we do on here. It's Detroit Lions. Lions Nation Unite, fan perspective, former player, and soon we're going to be having more content creators make videos, not just me anymore. That's how it's going to be. So go ahead and subscribe to get that stuff. So let's go start here. We're going to start with Cam Sutton here. You know, we released Cam Sutton after the incident that he had the warrant for his arrest for domestic violence. Ended up being a misdemeanor, not a felony, so he was released by the Detroit Lions anyways. Well, considering the fact that he did that and he didn't play well, so, I mean, you put those two together, he's going to get released. I mean, he just signed back up with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Here's the thing, folks. I always do believe in second chances, and, I don't know him personally. Hopefully he's sorry for what he did or whatever. He's got to pay for it. For the damages that he did for what has happened. I don't really want to get into the legal situation there, but he's not a Detroit Lion anymore. He can do his thing. I'm not going to sit there and gripe or whine about it. Just do your thing. We got our stuff going on here, and that's just really is what is. What is your thoughts about Cam Sutton getting a job in the NFL? Do you think that he shouldn't have? Do you believe in second chances? Your thoughts in the comments below. A player who's been really doing, and there's 2 players here, who's been really standing out and really good. First off, Brandon Joseph, safety, young safety here, undrafted. He has really made an opportunity this year. He's grown from last year to this year, and he's standing out right now in minicamp. Some of the starters were down. He comes in. He's picking off Jared Goff. He's looking really good. This is the development that we talk about with these players and how this coaching staff is able to just get the best out of these guys with the competition. And we talked about, should we get another safety? We already have C.J. Moore, who we just picked up for special teams a couple weeks ago. And, of course, Iffy, Kirby, the Brian Branch. And we said, could they bring in another guy? Well, right now, Brandon Joseph's doing really good, so they may not need to bring another guy. And that's something that we talked about on here. Let's just be patient and see. This coaching staff, this regime knows players, and you're having him break out at the safety position. So the Lions probably don't need to even sign a safety. So if you're a fan of getting a veteran safety, if he keeps it up, may not need to. Now, let's understand, though, this is just practice, because sometimes you're good at practice, sometimes you're outstanding in practice, and then you get on the field with the lights on, and you're not good. So everything is with a caveat. But right now, he's doing the best that he can to elevate his status for this football team, and there's nothing wrong with that. We absolutely love it. And the other player on here, rookie, who I am really liking to hear what I'm hearing, and that's Sione Vaki, the running back / safety we picked up. He, with his soft hands and his ability to catch the football out of the backfield, he's now a weapon at the wide receiver as a threat, a running back you can put on the outside a little bit. It reminds me of Theo Riddick. When we had Theo Riddick, he was not an every down guy. He's not a guy you hand the football all the time, but we used him in the pass game, and he was extremely effective in the pass game. Very soft hands, could catch everything, always getting positive yards. If Sione Vaki can be anything like that for the Detroit Lions, like a Theo Riddick, you have an offensive juggernaut that just keeps getting more and more with amazing depth. Amazing depth. We love Jahmyr Gibbs, not only as a running back, but in the pass game, right? What if he gets injured? Sione Vaki can do that in the pass game. Sione Vaki's a little bit of a baller too, right? He can go in between the tackles. Good depth at running back. Craig Reynolds, Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, Sione Vaki. This is looking very potent, very deadly, and that's a great thing. especially when you're drafting a player in the middle to later rounds who is probably a niche player. He's special teams. They're probably thinking about him. That's initially what they got when they got him, see what he can do in other spots. And he has exploded as a receiver out of the backfield. So this is awesome. You can never have enough of these gadget players for a person of Ben Johnson's stature where you know he's going to come up with great schemes and plans to get Sione Vaki open in space for game day. And I tell you what, not a lot of defensive coordinators are going to be thinking about Sione Vaki when you think about Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, and Craig Reynolds. So it's a nice little hidden gem that we got. And I'm really excited to see what he can do. I think he's going to be a gem. I think he's going to be a contributor this year. I'm not saying he's going to have a billion snaps, but he'll be a contributor. So let me know your thoughts about Sione Vaki below. Do you believe me that this guy is going to be a nice piece for the Lions this year? I do. I sure do. Now, C.J. Stroud, a really good rookie quarterback last year. I thought, man, he was having an amazing year. He was up there for MVP, not just as a rookie. He did amazing. I love the Texans. I love him as a quarterback. Fantastic. Like that. I think their organization is great. I think he's smart, and I think he's a all-around just a hell of a good quarterback, C.J. Stroud. He makes a bold statement about Matthew Stafford and Aaron Rodgers, and this is something I'm really intrigued with because this is a debate that's been raging on, and I think people are starting to change a little bit on how they rank quarterbacks, and we're going to talk about that. So Stafford is one of those guys, bro. He might be up there with Tom Brady and them. Stroud said before, immediately walking it back. No, that's crazy, that's crazy, that's crazy. Let me go back. Stafford, a dog, bro. You don't understand. You're saying that. That's all I watch. I don't watch anybody else. I watch Patrick Mahomes, times, stuff like that. Stafford, dog. He beat you in the same time. Y'all know law folks. I got that from him. A fan of his. I've been trying to find him. He's the same trainers. Growing out there and working to watch. Hold on. If you give Matthew Stafford a chance like Aaron Rodgers, I guarantee you he might have had more rings than Rodgers, 3 or 4. Stafford changed the narrative in Detroit, huh? So he's now, I don't agree with that second stat because he's a big fan of Matthew Stafford. But so I'm not going to say like he could have had all these Super Bowls if he was to have been in Green Bay because that's not the case. He can't, he had problems in the playoffs here, and it's so difficult to win a Super Bowl. Like what Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady does is extremely difficult. This is not something that anybody can do. But what I think this opens up to, and it's something that we've been talking at least on my channel for, is how we rank quarterbacks. We keep talking about, all these stats. But what I've been talking about is playoff wins, winning in Super Bowls. You look at Stafford and Aaron Rodgers. Stafford has won a Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers won 1 Super Bowl. So how they win the same amount of Super Bowls. Stafford could potentially win another one before he retires. Probably not. Aaron Rodgers is 40, so it's this year for him or bust, probably. But should be looking at quarterbacks, not just stats, but how they win in the playoffs, how they win in the postseason, how they win Super Bowls. Because Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, quarterbacks like that's always up there are not winning playoff games. They're not winning Super Bowls. So I think that should absolutely be part of the grading process. When you look at a quarterback, it's not just the stats, but it's also how you conduct yourself in the postseason and playoff victories. I think that's what we have to judge him. Because if you just go by stats, well, Josh Allen, you'd think he'd have 5 million Super Bowls, but that's not the case. He doesn't win in the playoffs. So that's just a nice subject I like talking about. Let me know your thoughts about that one. I have not read this article, so we're going to see it at the same time. It says 4 ways they could do with the cap. And find that wide receiver. That's one way they're saying here in sports, A to Z Sports. Again, we're letting them right now fight. Could they do that? Yeah. But let them fight right now. Let them fight in training camp. Let them fight in preseason. If that ain't working, okay, we'll see if another team cuts a player, maybe like a Robert Woods or something of that stature. But right now, I don't think it's really such a need. Sign some safety depth. We just talk about Brandon Joseph stepping up. Now, again, it's practice, but he's stepping up. So if he's stepping up like this, do you need to get a safety? You can save that money. We'll see in training camp. More importantly with Brandon Joseph, we'll see in preseason. That's what I'm watching him for. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Brandon Joseph makes this roster? Save some of your money for in-season transactions. I think they're talking about this could be a trade deadline move. Yeah, for sure. I think that's exactly what they're going to do here. They're going to save a lot of this for the trade deadline, as they should. 110%, I agree. Roll it over. That's a really good option. Roll it over. Have more money for Aiden Hutchinson, Lee McNeil. That's the fiscally responsible. If everything works out, that would be the ideal situation. Lions win a Super Bowl. We're all over the cap. We have $1 billion in cap space for next year, and we continue to be a great team with great cap. That's ideal. So they have some options they can do with that money. A lot of people want to know about the developing of Giovanni Manu. He is extremely raw, folks. Really raw. And so it's going to take some time to develop him, and that's fine. That's what we do. We get players who we know may not start immediately, but they have a high ceiling, and we're going to develop these guys. I totally am with Brad Holmes on this, and I could care less what any other person talking about or anybody else says. I agree with Brad Holmes in the development of taking a big guy like this guy who's the Hulk and see it can develop into an outstanding tackle. He's got all the physical attributes. He's got the mental capacity. Can he do it? Take a risk. Why not? It's worked a lot so far. So I don't expect a lot from Manu this year. I really don't. I just expect him to develop, continue, and maybe in a couple years he could be a really nice little piece for the Detroit Lions. And that's what you do in the draft. You develop, and then at some point they can take over. Good quality teams do it. We are one of those teams. Folks, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on the latest Lions news and rumors.